Okay, so the first thing that we're going to go over today on our study guide is telling whether lines are parallel, skew, or intersecting. So it's been a while since we've done that, so we're going to do a few examples. I encourage having colored pens or highlighters or colored pencils so that you can kind of highlight each line as we go. So looking at number 1, we want to look at lines CD and AH. So I'm going to come over here and highlight CD and AH. So are those parallel? Are they intersecting? So what does that mean they are? Skew. Very good. Okay. Then we're going to look at AG and PQ. So AG is this line right here. PQ is this line right here. Are those parallel? No. Are they intersecting? Yes, so we'd write intersecting. Okay. Next we're looking at FE and FG. So I'm going to highlight FE and FG. Are those parallel? Nope. Are they intersecting? Yes, so we would write intersecting. Next, let's look at AG and HD. So AG is this line right here, and HD is this line right here. Are those parallel? Yes. So I'm going to write the symbol for parallel because we want to get used to doing that. Okay, so how do we feel about skew, intersecting, or parallel? Pretty easy. Okay. Let's look at identifying angles. Now, if you struggle with identifying angles, then I suggest when we're done reviewing, you make note cards and you use those tonight. Because if you cannot identify angles, this test is going to be extremely hard because all we do the whole time is look at angle relationships. Okay? So let's look at number 1. We have angle 1 and angle 6. So angle 1 is right here. Angle 6 is right here. So are those corresponding? Alternate interior? Alternate exterior? Consecutive? Vertical? Yes, they are vertical. So vertical are across from each other and they share the same vertex. Okay, what about 15? We have 4 right here and 5 here. Are those corresponding? Alternate interior? Alternate exterior? Yes. So this would be alternate exterior because they are on the outside of the parallel lines on opposite sides. Okay, 2 and 3. So 2 is here, 3 is here. Are these corresponding? No. Are they alternate interior? Alternate exterior? Consecutive? Okay, consecutive. Very good. Both on the inside of the parallel lines and on the same side of the transversal. So both of these are on the left-hand side of the transversal. So they have you put T for consecutive. All right, and then 2 and 7. So we have 2 here and 7 here. What are these? Alternate interior. Very good. And last one, 7 and 6. What are those? They're what? Okay, consecutive means inside the parallel lines on the same side of the transversal. Is 7 and 6 on the same side of the transversal? No. Okay, so technically they're what? A linear pair, but we don't have that as a choice up there. I do want you to know, though, these are a linear pair. So right here I'm going to put LP/no relationship because you will have to use linear pair sum to solve for some angles. Yes, Hannah? Is it a 2? Okay, let's try that again. Since I drew all over everything. Okay, so this is 7 right here. 7 and 6. So those are consecutive. Thank you. Okay, linear pair is not up here though, and I do want you to be able to recognize it. So write it up there, and if you find a linear pair, use that. Okay, do I need to keep going with those? All right. Felix, can I see your thing real quick? Okay, so this is on the second sheet at the bottom. People tend to think these are hard, but I'm going to show you how to look at them so they're actually not that bad. Okay, as I'm drawing, what do these arrows mean on each of them? That they're parallel. Very good. If you don't know that, you need to know that because that's going to help you be able to solve these, is knowing that those are parallel. Okay, so looking at 36, how many parallel lines do we have? 3, okay? We're used to just looking at 2, right? So what I would do if I was you, I would cover up this bottom one with my finger, okay? So then if you cover up the bottom one with your finger, then you're only looking at 2 parallel lines cut by a transversal, right? Which is what we see all the time. So does 60 and D have a relationship? No. Okay, because 60 is on the outside, D is on the outside, but they're not on opposite sides. Okay, but I do know that 60 and this angle right here has a relationship. What is this angle? It's corresponding to it, so this would be 60. Okay, can that help me get D? How? Okay, they're linear pairs. Very good. So we would do 180 minus 60, and that would give me 120. Okay, so that means D is 120 degrees. Okay, now cover up this top line, and let's just look at these 2 parallel lines cut by the transversal. So if I have 120, what is 120's relationship to E? They are alternate interior. Very good. So alternate interior means what? They're equal or congruent, so that would be 120 as well. Okay? So we can either look at the relationship between E and F or D and F. What are D and F? Consecutive, which means they add to 180. Okay? So if we did 180 minus 120, that would give us 60. Okay? Questions on that one? Okay. Let's look at 37. So where are my parallel lines there? The ones in the middle. So I like to continue this out so I can kind of see it better. Okay, do we have any angles on this line right here? No. So we want to focus on this line right here. What would this line be called? The transversal, okay? So we're looking at the relationships for 48 and A or 48 and B. What is 48 and A's relationship? They're corresponding. So if these are corresponding, what does that mean angle A is? 48. So corresponding means they're congruent. So A is 48. What about 48 and B? They're consecutive. So that means they do what? Add to 180. So I'd have to do 180 minus 48, which would give me 132. Okay? And then 38. What is the easiest angle to see first? Okay, 26 and D. Why? What type angles are those? They're vertical. Okay? So vertical means congruent, so D is 26. Now, the other ones are a little bit harder to see. Some people struggle with them. If this is one of my parallel lines, and this is one of my parallel lines, okay? 67 and C are both on this transversal, right? So what relationship does C and 67 have right here? Alternate interior. Very good. So that means that C would be 67. Does that make it a little bit easier to see? Okay, perfect. Okay, and Felix, can I see that one more time? All right, now let's look at 42. Okay, so if we look at the directions up here, it says A is parallel to B. So if A is parallel to B, what are my transversals? Okay, the other two lines that are not labeled A or B, we always want to make sure that we're looking at the instructions to see what is parallel and what is not. Because if there's something that's not parallel, we always want to circle them and work along those transversals. So that means that my angles 3, 4, and 6, I have to get from this 100. My angles 1, 2, and 5 have to come from 70. Okay, so I can only work along this. So does 100 have a relationship with 6? What is it? Okay, so these are a linear pair. So I would do 180 minus 100. And angle 6 would be 80 degrees. Okay. What about 104? Does that have a relationship? Okay. So these are corresponding. So what does that mean angle 4 is? 100 degrees. Okay. And then does angle 100 and angle 3 have a relationship? No. How could I find that though? Okay. 3 and 6 are alternate interior, which means angle 3 would be 80 as well. Perfect. Okay, now let's move to the other transversal. So does 70 and 5 have a relationship? They're a linear pair. So I do 180 minus 70, which would give me 110. So 5 would be 110. All right, what about 70 and 2? Do they have a relationship? They are alternate interior. So that means that angle 2 is what? 70 as well. Okay. And then 70 and 1, do they have a relationship? No. What does 1 have a relationship to? Okay. It has a relationship to 2 because it's a linear pair. It also has a relationship to 5 because they're what? Alternate exterior. So if 5 and 1 are alternate exterior, that means 1 is 110 degrees. Okay, any questions about that one?